It's Murphy, Sam, and Jody after the show.
Jody, I've got to get ready for April 14th.
I know, Sam.
What is April? What is April the 14th?
Hello, it's the season premiere of Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
You're going to
season
lose
8.
me for a solid 90 minutes every Sunday night for 6 weeks, Murphy, starting April 14th.
No, 60 minutes, and then the last couple are 80 minutes.
Whatever. 90.
But I know I have to go back and re-binge in order to catch up because I'm not going to remember anything. My question to you, Jody, is
Where to start?
The expert, is what season to start on, because it's like I think back to the first season and all the establishing stuff, and
You
it's like
could go to the
I
first
got
season.
that. I don't need all the
Really?
stuff established.
Are you kidding? There are things in the first episode that are huge to me that are like, wow, that happened. But if you only have a little time, which you only have a little time now, and you don't want to be a
month
psycho
and a
about
half,
it,
2
okay?
months.
At least season 6 and 7.
Oh, that far? Because I was
Yeah.
thinking like 3 or 4 would get me, but you know.
Whatever you want to do, the more the
Well,
better.
I just don't want to go back to the start.
Well, if you go to 6 and 7, then you'll at least be set up for like the reminder. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The problem with
At least
binging
have
any
some
show.
dragons.
Yeah, when you binge any show, you don't really retain, especially if you're watching back to back to back.
Yeah.
And so when the new season comes up, I always like to go back at least a couple of episodes into the last season or
I am
whatever's most
literally
recent.
a little obsessed with this show right now and this whole story because when I have extra time at home to read something, I can pick up one of those books, and the books are so much more in depth. And I could pick up the first book or I could pick up the last book. It doesn't matter. You're immediately sucked in. I'm immediately sucked in.
You don't follow the storyline, though?
I
You
like
can
to,
jump
but I
her?
know the whole storyline. So it's
Oh.
like, let me dig deeper. This was around season 2, you know? Or watching it is incredible. And I do like watching it in order. And whenever nobody's around, like when the girls are not home, I'll turn it on and like while I'm doing house stuff. And I turned it off the other day, Murphy, and it was just the two of us. But I turned it off because the next episode, it counts you down. Next episode's about to start. I turned it off because it was The Door. And the last time you caught me watching it, it was The Door's Hodor, the Hodor episode. Because I'm watching near. I'm leading up to
Yeah.
Yeah.
where we
close.
are. So it's so exciting.
Why don't you want Murphy to see The Door?
No, I just don't. I don't know. I was
Yeah, it's a
feeling
downer.
self-conscious. No, I was just feeling self-conscious about. Didn't you just? I could hear you going. Didn't you just watch this one months ago?
I guess.
Because you walked in on that Hodor thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would have caught that, but I mean, you're rewatching all of it, so it's not like
Yeah.
that would surprise me. So
Murphy just wants to know about the fire scenes.
well,
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I mean, you know
Khaleesi.
that's probably how the thing's going to end. The only person left is going to be Daenerys, and that's it.
You think that? I don't think that. I don't think she's going to make it.
Really?
I don't.
How?
Is that counter to everybody else's theory? I mean,
I don't know.
you've been all over those blogs, so I
I've
don't
been
know.
reading about it, and I'm trying to understand the whole Bran and the Night King thing. And I
Yeah.
kind of understand now that he gets trapped there. He tries to go back and save the world from White Walkers and gets trapped there, and that's that whole theory. Very simplified in the Jodi way.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like Jon Snow's not going to make it, and I feel like it's just as likely that Daenerys won't make it either.
Well, if the two of them don't make it, then who may? Yeah, as somebody that doesn't watch the show,
I think they might have a kid.
Aren't those the two most important people that should make it?
Those are the closest two protagonists that show has. Those
Okay.
two are the
Wait,
closest
they
two.
might have a kid?
Didn't you see the last episode, what they were doing on that ship?
Yeah, I know what they were doing on the ship.
Okay,
Okay.
then that's how babies are made.
On a ship?
Why not?
Okay.
You,
So
you
you're
need
saying
to watch again, Sam.
you're saying that a medieval stork showed up at this boat. is what
Dragon.
you're
Yeah.
saying. A dragon. I'm sorry. Right? They were before storks. They were
Yeah.
dragons.
Could have been a dragon. Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to predict myself. I don't want to figure it out so much ahead of time to where I'm like, dun, 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 I'm right. Although we do have that office pool we're supposed to be a part of.
Oh,
where we
yeah.
write
I need to
down
give you my $10
who
on that one.
lives and who becomes a White Walker and who legit dies and
Yeah.
bodies get spurned or whatever.
My
Yeah,
money was
burn-
on Bran,
Yeah.
but that theory that you came up with, yeah, if he gets trapped.
I don't know, but I do think Bran needs to meet Jaime Lannister again. Because Jaime Lannister is the reason that Bran lost his, ability to walk.
Yeah.
So I think that needs to happen. And there's a lot of hellos that need to happen. I think Jaime needs to leave Cersei and fight for the North, which would be very
I
different.
think he will. Murphy, since you haven't
Exciting.
watched since season 1, are you going to pick up season 8?
Oh.
Or
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to live vicariously through
care.
Jodi on this, but I
Yeah.
don't know because I don't want to invest the time to go back through all the other seasons. It just doesn't resonate with me, and I know it
wouldn't be
sounds like a
cool
party pooper.
If you try to watch
Although-
it and I'll have to explain everything to you, that's no fun.
But I am a little bit shocked at what you just described because if Daenerys and Jon Snow were on the boat, I just thought it was rough seas that day. That's what I thought. It was a big storm and
No.
rough seas. That's what I
No.
thought.
Boat's rocking. Don't bother
Oh,
knocking.
stop. Do you know who could survive it all?
Who?
Our favorite character, Tyrion.
Yeah.
He
I
could
think
survive.
he will.
I hope so.
You know what?
Tyrion
If he
and
dies,
Bran.
I will
True.
cry my eyes out, literally. And there's a lot of characters I care about.
See, why wouldn't he be the protagonist of the show?
He could be. He's super important. He's brilliant. And the other and he's not just a Lannister. There's no way he's just a Lannister. All these spoilers, we know he's got Targaryen blood.
Has he
sure.
walked through fire too?
No, but he
No, but he
released
can-
the dragons.
He can pet the dragons and talk to
Supposedly, only Targaryens can really have that game with dragons.
Only a Targaryen can pet the dragon. Okay, I'm just making sure I understand.
Yeah, it's not a euphemism.
Kind of like that. Kind of like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to overthink it or whatever, but I do think it's some of the best storytelling ever. And I'm more surprised than anybody because, I'm not about fantasy that much. I loved Harry Potter, obviously, and I've dabbled in vampire stuff. But
You mean shows?
as far as my reading and stuff.
Yeah.
Not real vampires.
But nobody's more surprised than me how much I love it, truly. But I will say something so interesting I read the other day. George R.R. Martin, who created this world, has not released that final book yet. Mm-hmm. And the reason he's had trouble, he's had writer's block because of the success of the show. The success of the show and them creating the show and them consulting him about it.
Puts
because
a pressure.
Those two writers who loved it and went to him and said, we've got to make this, into an HBO show. He's like, okay, sell you the rights. Here you go. Those supposedly the only two people, I guess now the actors, know how it's really supposed to end. Mm-hmm. But he's supposed to give the world this final book, and I'm going to want to read that. He's had writer's block because of the success of the show.
Are you sure he's not just holding out till the series is over?
I think he's having some blocks for real.
I would think that's. Pressure
now
to
that
write
everybody's about it.
it makes a left brain thing happen for something that's a right brain exercise, and I would just think that would be
There you
challenging.
go.
That makes perfect sense. And
Chad?
the creative process is a very mysterious thing, and now there's all these expectations for what's going to happen in the show from all the fans and everything.
Right, and
totally
this is his
different.
baby.
Yeah, and I mean he's been thinking about this for a long time. So there's a long time coming from when he originally had an idea of how the show was going to end and everything to now that it's got all this success. I'd have writer's block too.
Yeah.
And you don't want to screw it up. I mean, how many sitcoms have
Exactly.
ended with that?
Wah, wah. Well, this is not a sitcom.
I know,
And-
but in order to, like Chad's saying, you want to make sure all the fans, or at least everybody can
Yeah.
go, I wasn't happy with the ending, but I got it.
And then,
Well, can't
he's
please
got
everybody. He
he's
knows
got
that.
two communities to appease now. He's got the fans of the book and the fans of the show. And
Hmm.
what if by appeasing the fans of the book, he lets down the show, or vice versa?
Well, I
Well,
mean that's
can't worry
pretty
about
easy,
that.
Chad. Whichever one makes the most money.
Yeah, that's who you cater to.
It all makes the most money.
You-
It's. I will say this too. I tried to read the books first because I always believe, hey, you'll love the books more than anything, even any movie, any show.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that book and I threw it across the room because I couldn't follow. There were too many characters. But once you watch the show, the books are way enjoyable. And there are parts that you might want to skip. Like last night, I read a really good, interesting Theon chapter. And then the next chapter was the blind girl, meaning when Arya had lost her sight at the many-faced god thing.
When a girl
and I
loses
was
her
just
sight.
like, "Blah."
wow, I
So
have no
turned.
idea what you're talking
Yeah,
about
so
now.
I'm like, I don't
Lost
care.
me.
And if I cheat myself for not caring, oh well.
Here's one, too. Arya.
Arya.
I want her to live.
I think
Is she the
Arya's
one that
gotta-
learned how to do swords early on?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, season winner.
Yeah, no, I'm just. I've got to ask.
Yes, she did.
She's the young one, yeah.
And you know what else has occurred to me when you were saying you went through a vampire phase a minute ago? This is the first time it's clicked in the entire time that Game of Thrones has been on. White Walkers are really nothing more than their version of zombies.
Yeah, they're zombies.
Yeah, they're
That's
ice
really what they
zombies.
are,
frozen
right? I mean,
zombies.
there's
They're
not.
the undead.
It just finally kicked. It's like, well, this is not an original idea.
Oh yeah, he's so lame.
No, I'm not saying it's lame. It's
Yeah.
just at first I'm thinking, wow, man, that's intense. Oh wait, they're zombies.
Yeah.
That's what finally
It's
clicked. with
another
me.
zombie show.
It's not. In fact, what's funny is that when I watched that first season, my friend Dana said, Jodi, you're going to love this. However, because she knows me and my my pickiness. She's like, don't let those people with the blue eyes throw you off. That it doesn't even matter. You're gonna love the show and the characters and the families and all that. And she's right, I do. When the first times we saw the White Walkers, I was like, oh, this. Yeah. But it is huge because it's what's coming.
Yeah. The whole winter's coming.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think the Game of Thrones fans have had plenty of time to get over the fact that White Walkers are zombie ripoffs.
Right.
Yeah, right.
We don't care. They were the original zombies, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, look, George R.R. Martin knows where he planned to end. He knew from the start where he planned to end up.
All great writers know that.
Right, just like J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
She knew about Harry and Voldemort. So.
Well, the only thing is, April the 14th, man, I think I'm going to be cramming for taxes that night.
That's
they're
okay.
due the next day.
You can't do what you do to me sometimes when I'm watching. I'm trying to watch an old episode just to catch up, and he'll walk through and go, "There's dragons everywhere." It's not a Scotsman.
There are a lot of women in this room. What's going on?
Yeah. See, the equivalent of that is you're watching football. What's that penalty mean? It means watch the whole game.